Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's November 20th. This is going to wrap it up for the week. No more chart lessons this week. No more mid-morning charts posted to the website due to the Thanksgiving holiday. I'm ready for a break. I need a break, and so I'm looking forward to getting a few days off and getting away from this screen and getting out of the office. So hopefully each of y'all get the chance to take a break as well. But it was another wildly volatile day with a lot of volume and a lot of volatility. It was pretty straightforward early on. This is why I don't know why, but the early morning always seems to be much more straightforward. If that's the right word, I'm not sure. I don't know what tends to happen in the afternoons, but prices tend to get a little harder to read in the afternoons, it seems like, for some odd reason. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But anyway, it just seems like it was really straightforward till about 9 o'clock. And then this was relatively straightforward. You had to assume that we're probably bouncing an equal distance here. And that's what it looked like was going to happen. But we pushed on through there, then turned back down. And then it looked like we were probably going to go down for a retest of a new low. Then it bounced. I mean, look at that strong bounce. Look how strong we sold off. Then we rallied. The market just didn't have any direction, didn't know what to do. Eventually, we did sell on off and come down to make a new low here before the market just kind of went sideways again. We actually bounced and then back down, but we eventually did make a new low after a break here. But it was really difficult from about 9:30, I'd say 9:30, 9:45 in here until about 11 o'clock. It was really hard to know what, and you'll see there's not many trades. I didn't have much marked in there because it was really hard to know what the market was doing. It looked like it was going to go straight on down and do a retest or maybe even pick up the downtrend again, but then it bounces just as strongly. So it's just a little bit difficult. The afternoon was a little more straightforward. After about 11 o'clock, we started the downtrend again. And when you come up here about this 50% level, we got about a 50% correction of the entire move down and then started down again. So that's fairly typical of where you'd look for that maybe to happen, somewhere between 50 and 75%. If you usually turn down, the first thing I would do would be to look for a measured leg. Of course, we didn't get that today, but that's what I would have been looking for later in the day for a measured leg, and or when we did finally start down. But we did that here, and then we bounced and made a little higher high and before we started down again. And then we did have a relatively straightforward two-tiered channel working down here. So just an interesting day, a little bit different, a little bit more difficult at times. So if you struggled, especially from maybe 9:30 to 11, don't worry about it. It was hard to figure out what was going on. Prices were just kind of undecided, so to speak. But anyway, let me back out here. We'll talk about the trades and we'll wrap this week up and we'll be done till after the holidays. But when I came in, 7 o'clock, we'd been trending down and we were just kind of going sideways. But notice you made attempt to go up. We tried twice. You tried the third time. So you really got a double test of this midline, a relatively bearish bar. I like going short there. We're making lower highs every single time. You got to always be concerned about the support here, but we should try to make it. This has been a relatively strong trend down, and this is a pretty good trend working down here. We should get a retest of the low, and if you look for the low here, you should have enough room. So for that one, this one could be close to being green though. We do move down. There's a first entry right off the midline here, but we've already had a break and a move down. You would probably want to go ahead and measure this leg down and say, hey, if we make a second leg down, look for a measured move. And you see, we didn't quite get it, but we came close. So in that case, you know, you might try one of these other trades. I don't like this one being its first entry, but notice we came back and there's actually looked like there was going to be a lower high right here, but it never broke lower. And this is really your signal bars here. That's the first break of that trend line. Then it pushes back up and you get a little bitty tiny bar right here on a second entry short right off the EMA. I like that one just to try to get a scalp and maybe run on down for another leg. You get a lower high right here, which is probably the safer move. The reason I mark that one green is because you're always better off to wait on a lower high, and that comes right here. It's kind of hard to see that, but it breaks higher and turns and goes down. Just have your sell stop right there. You got enough room to get out. It does pull back here and give you a failed second entry long as well, and another bearish bar. So you might take that one too. It is right into a double bottom, but this trend has been strong. I just showed you the measured move was a little further down here, so you may risk that one as well. But those two of those are aggressive. So this was your best move. Then we start bouncing here. There is a failed second entry short here, but look at it. It's right back into that trend line again. And a lot of times if you get a break like this during the overnight, it kind of resets and it doesn't count, and the trend will continue on. So you had to be concerned about that right there. There was a second entry short right there as well, but that trend line was still working up. So I wouldn't risk that yet. I'd wait to see what happens. And notice how we just keep working up that trend line. We finally get a lower high here, but notice how your signal bar is not very, it's really bullish. So I don't like going short there. And then this is a possible long. It does bounce. It is a second entry long. It does bounce right off the trend line. It is a fairly bullish bar. Actually, I don't know if this went lower or higher first. I can't remember. If it went higher first, you would have got stopped out right there. There also, look how many bars are kind of stacking up there before it broke higher. You've got 1, 2, 3. This would have been your fourth bar. I definitely wouldn't have gone long after that bar. If you did go long right there, the real thing to remember is this trend has been strongly down, and you just had an overshoot right here off what looks like the channel. So I would at least be looking for 2 legs down here before it went any higher, and we're nowhere close to 2 legs down. So that's just not a good place to go long. And again, it is a second entry long if it went lower. Actually, it's a second entry long anytime it went higher in there. But if it could have gone lower and then gone up, and you probably would have been all right. But if it went higher and went down, you probably got stopped out by 1 tick only to see it go where you thought. It's just not a good place for a long anyway, because the overall bias is down, and this is looking really sideways right here. Notice the support across the bottoms here. It's not as clear off the top, but it's still there. And you can see that resistance right across there. So we're kind of in a, and it even goes back over to here. So we're kind of in a trading range. So it's just not a good place to go long, even though it looks like there's a bounce off a nice trend line there. It just keeps working up. Same thing right here. I wouldn't risk a long. And then finally it turns down. We get a lower high. It turns and goes down. I like going short right there. Failed second entry long right here off the key entry point. Go short right there. And we got a nice little trend working down. You finally get a break here. It's just the first entry. It is a big bearish bar. That's another one. This is really your signal bar. So your stop has to go above it. It's only 1 tick higher than this one, but I don't think you want to go short there on the first entry with your signal bar being that bullish. Then we bounce again here. Again, you got another little trend working up. Be real careful getting short in here. There's a lower high right here, but look how we got a doji, an outside bar basically, another inside bar. You don't want to go short there. And then by the time you get down here, you've worked too far. There's a double test here. Notice that you made this high. You test it once, you test it twice, but look how bullish that is, and look how much strong that support is looking right there. So you don't want to be going short there either. But suddenly you push through, pull back and test it and get a big bearish bar. It's a breakout pullback short. I like that one. See where that one goes. we're probably headed to this line again, and you've got enough room there to get out. It actually goes a little further and then bounces. And again, you want to get a true reversal. This is a fairly strong reversal right here. It pushes through, but it's just a first entry, and you don't get your second entry short till here. Now you got two legs up, but you're up at the upper side of what looks like the trend channel, and even though it would have worked, that's not a good place to go long. And I wouldn't go short there either. Then we just start kind of working sideways, and notice how we make a double test of that midline. We're probably headed up here. Notice that double top, new high, first entry, second entry. So that's a second entry long off the EMA, the midline here. And this is probably where we're headed now. So I like that one. We actually pull back and test it again. It actually breaks lower, turns and goes out the other side. I like going long there again on another test of that, and the fact that it tested that trend line, and off it goes. We actually get another second entry long here with a fairly bullish bar, but we just came off the high of this, so I wouldn't be looking for any shorts. I was really surprised when it went on higher here. I really thought we would go lower. And notice too here, there's a new high, first entry, second entry. So there's a failed second entry long there with a big bearish bar. So you might have thought about going short there. I would be a little bit leery of it because of that trend line. This got just enough to get out, exactly 6 ticks. So that's what it takes to scalp out with 4. You need a tick to get in, then you move 4 ticks, and you got to move a 5th tick to get out. So that's 6 ticks, and that's exactly what you got there. But I wouldn't take that trade because it's right off that trend line, and I wouldn't go long because we just came off the highs, and we're probably going to go lower, but it's just really risky there. Again, you might, I'm willing to give that one a green one, but you can see it was a good chance that, it could have failed. If your chart's slightly different, you may not have got enough to get out, but then it runs on up. And again, I'm not looking for any longs up here, but I'm afraid to go short now because this thing has been really strong with a lot of momentum here. And you get another failed second entry long right here. Notice the high, first entry, second entry, it fails. When it went 1 tick below that bar, it's a failure. You could have considered a short there because now we do have a close outside and a new high, and we didn't quite get back up there, and we're making lower highs now. So you could argue for that one to be green for sure. I don't like it red, definitely, because it's still into the EMA right there. And this is still showing a lot of momentum, and look how quickly it bounces back. It tests that again, and now you look like you're really starting to move down, but you don't get a chance to enter that one. You get a failed second entry long here, but you've already had a close outside and a new low, so I don't like that one, even though it works. And you actually get another failed second entry long here. But again, we've already got a break and a new low, so I'm not crazy about it. And then this comes out of the blue. This is what I was talking about earlier. It just rallies back up. And you could argue that it's probably some strong support there. You can see that coming from over here. So it's not like it was completely unexpected that you got a bounce there back, but the fact that it took off like that makes it really, really questionable. And what it looks like in the end is we probably just had a trading range going on here. But it's not real clear because it doesn't give you the same, you're not getting consistent highs. It's more consistent at the highs than it is the lows, but you bounce here once, you bounce here and here, and then you bounce a little higher, and then you go lower, and so it's not real consistent, so it's really hard to trade. So this was when it got really unsure where we were headed. If this is a range, we just came off the highs, but we're going high, we're making higher highs and higher lows. We're not going lower. The best thing here is just stay out of it. Just wait until it's clear, and then finally we get a big move down, a lower high off a trend line because I drew that off those lows and drug it over, and look how it fits there perfectly. That's when you want to go short. And notice you got one leg, and just watch, see if you get a measured leg, and there it is, a perfect measured leg to the tick, and it bounces again. But then it's kind of unsure, hey, are we still going sideways? Are we going higher? Are we going lower? And finally, you make a lower high here below the EMA off a trend line, bearish bar. And so now I would be looking, I'd measure this whole move, and I'd be looking for a measured move right here. Notice how we got it to the tick again before we corrected and then pushed on lower. So that would have been another great target there for you. I wouldn't ride this bounce out. Once we started bouncing there, I probably would have exited. And you don't get a good enough signal bar there to try another short. Then we work back and you get a second entry short right here, and a shame on my chart again, you got too bullish of a bar, and so I'm not going to take that trade. And then, but it's obvious this trend line's in play now. And we finally get a break. Try to go higher once, twice, and fail, and you get a big bearish bar. There's your chance to ride a failed second entry down for a new low, most likely. And there it goes. Comes back to that trend line again here, but you're going sideways. Same thing here, too much congestion. And then notice that trend line, that's the first break. You get one leg down, then you try to make a higher low and a bearish bar. I like that one. Again, just enough to get out of there. I think there's an extra tick or two in that one. But then look how quickly it bounces. Once it starts going higher here, then you got to assume that's the middle move of probably two legs. And I'd look for a measured leg like that one. And there it is. And we turn down again. And that really got you into the 2 o'clock hour. I just don't see anything. It got really difficult to know what was going on. It's really more of a flat market. This is just another trading range down here that got flatter. But again, you don't have consistent highs in the same places. You don't have consistent lows in the same places. It's hard to trade those. You'll get whipsawed quite a bit trying to trade those. So just stay away from them. But you can see it again there. We had the move down, correction, the break. Move back down to a new low, which we barely made by a few ticks, and it just got really difficult to kind of know what the market was trying to do up here. Volatility makes it really hard because if you're wrong, you're burned and out in just a second or two, and there's a bunch of fake outs and things like that. It'll make it look like a trap in one direction, and it ends up double trap, what you call a double trap, and it fools you in both directions and then goes back where you originally thought. And so you just got to be real careful on a day like this. But anyway, I hope everybody's had a good couple of days this week. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it on Monday. Let me just open the calendar here. Monday the 26th, so we got a few days vacation here, but I'll be back Monday the 26th. Hope to see each of you back then. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday, but I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.